Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Loli. Today I have a very fun video for you. It is part of a collaboration. You have to stay tuned. For now, let's go right into the video. DIY number 1. For this project, I'm going to use this little thing from the Dollar Tree and I'm painting it white. And then I'm going to use this blue chalk paint and I'm painting it blue. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some hot glue and add it to the top, add a combination of Spanish moss and floral moss to the top, just trying to simulate, you know, when the grass begins to get green, but it's not quite there yet. I try to make sure to fill out all the little sections, making sure to have a nice healthy amount. So this will be a nice flat surface for the next part of this project. Then I took one of these bunnies from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to glue it right in the center of the grass. Then I took some of these yellow flowers from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to cut them individually with a very short stem, and we are going to position them around our bunny. I just used a very tiny amount of hot glue and I placed it in the bottom of the flower there, and I'm going to do that. I think I used about 5 flowers, just putting them in different places, trying to make this look as cute as possible. Look at how adorable the contrast between that yellow and that blue looks, and how the yellow complements the green. I really love this combination. Let me know what you guys think. The same flowers came with this greenery as well, so I just took the stem off and I'm trimming it closest to the last leaves that it has on there, and I'm gluing it on right next to the bunny in that space where there's no flowers, just to give this another point of interest. Friends, if you're enjoying this video so far, I'm going to ask you to please give me a thumbs up. This is how YouTube knows that I'm doing a good job and it pushes my video to more viewers. Thank you so much for your support. Now that my bunny and my flowers are positioned in the place I want them, I'm going to go ahead and use this little fishbowl-like vase from the Dollar Tree, and I just removed the sticker and placed it down. Then I'm going to add some of this yellow ribbon that also came from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to attach it there where both the fishbowl vase and the candle holder meet, just to make it like a more seamless transition and bring some more cuteness to this arrangement. Then I took some more ribbon and I'm going to create a bow with it. As you see there, all I do is just, cross the tails and then bring down the bottom loop, tie it with some jute cord, cut off the excess jute, and usually I cover the jute, but here I kind of forgot. I just went over and did dovetail the ends, just folded it in half like you see there, and then cut upward to create those little dovetails. Here I jumped the gun and I glued my bow onto the piece. I forgot to cover up my jute cord. So we're going to just go ahead and figure a workaround here. So I just took a piece of my ribbon and I'm going to trim it into a tiny little piece. I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue onto the fabric there, or the ribbon. Add it to my top of my jute cord there, and then do the same thing with the bottom, and there you go, voila, we covered that up. Now we are going to distress the bottom section. I just add some white paint to a very fluffy paintbrush there, and I'm just giving it some distress using that white. And here it is, guys, all completed. I love it. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, my friends, like I mentioned earlier, this is part of a collaboration, the Spring and Easter Cloche, and it is hosted by Tami from Happiness Created and by Shawnie from Glitzy Stitches Home DIY. The link to the channels and to the playlist will be in my description box below. make sure to head on over and watch their videos as well. Once you're done with my video, of course. DIY number 2. For this one, I'm going to use one of these cloches from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to remove the bottom section, and I'm going to go ahead and take some white paint, and we are going to paint it. Then we're going to take some of this blue chalk paint, and we're going to paint both those pieces on there. Then we're going to come in with some of this gel super glue, and I'm going to add it to different spaces in between here, just to be able to have space to also put some hot glue so I can continue on working while the gel super glue sets. Okay, so while it's setting, I'm going to go ahead and take some hot glue and put it all at the top there of the cloche bottom. And then before that dries, I'm going to go ahead and put some of the same mixture that I used for the previous DIY in there, making sure to make it nice and lump free and flat. I trimmed it up a little bit, just the edges, because we're going to be using the cloche later on. So we want to make sure that nothing spills over to the side so we have good clearance. But I'm going to use a little hole in the middle, but I forgot to leave it open. So I had to take a skewer and open it up. And then I'm taking one of these yellow roses from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to put it right in the middle. Then I'm making sure that everything fits well. It does, so I go ahead and take my sticker off of my cloche top, and I'm going to make sure that the rose is nicely placed, and once it's nice and ready and the size that I want and the height that I want, I add some hot glue to make sure that it sets in place, and then I add some of the mixture of the two mosses to the bottom. Here I had the idea to do like a frosty look to the cloche, so I just dusted it off before I added anything, and then I added some of this Craft Mart sparkle paint. That's really, it dries clear, it just shows like kind of like just some sparkle to it, just to give it a little bit more pizzazz. Friends, if you have not done so, I'm going to go ahead and invite you to subscribe. It is free and it means the world to me. So I did that and I put it to dry, and now I'm using some of the same ribbon that I used for the previous DIY, and I'm going to completely put it around the base there, just to give that a little bit more that yellow detail and contrast. As I was adding the ribbon, I was making sure to, pull it taut so it will be nice and tight. And then I did a very thin layer of the hot glue onto it to avoid any bulges on the ribbon. I really didn't want to add any hot glue along the entire ribbon to avoid any crinkling. So that's why I made sure to hold it really taut. So I only had to add the glue in only one section. Once that was positioned the way I wanted it, I'm going to use the same ribbon, and I'm going to create a bow just the same way as I created it in the first DIY. This time though, I made sure to put the little piece to cover the jute cord on it before sticking it onto my project. Guys, I was going back and forth with this one, whether or not I wanted to distress it or not. I went with distressing. I used the same brush, a nice little fluffy brush with very little paint on it. And I'm just giving the blue sections just a little dusting of the of the white onto the blue, just to break it up a little bit. And I feel like it just gives it a little bit more character. If you're not into distressing, you are more than welcome to leave out this step. Then this dried, right? And I went to go put it on, and it was a great idea on my head, but look how murky it ended up looking, guys. It just wasn't what I expected. So I got another cloche cover that I had left over from a different DIY, and there it is. Nice and simple. Now that I'm happy with it, I'm gonna just add a couple dabs of hot glue to make sure this is secured in place, and that is it. Here it is in all its glory. I love this guy. I was inspired by the Beauty and the Beast. I don't know if you remember that they had the flower like that with the petals falling. I love it. What do you guys think? Let me know. DIY number 3. For this one, I'm going to use this candle holder that I got thrifted, and I'm going to paint it with that color right there, the chalk paint, same as I'm using for the entire video. Then I painted this white, and I'm going to come in and take these beads and paint them with that navy blue. I'm going to take one of those Ziploc bags, put my beads in them, put some color in there, some of my chalk paint in there, enough to coat the beads, and I'm just going to swirl them around until they are nicely coated. I'm going for a little marble look on this. So I just put my beads onto some wax paper or parchment paper. And I'm just shaking it about so that way I'm trying to make them into a single layer and try to separate them a bit so they don't dry stuck together. So I'm just using my finger there just to separate them a little bit. And there's a runaway bead, but I caught it, put it back there. Then I use a paper to kind of remove some of that paint, but I did a little bit too much removing. So I'm coming in with a brush, putting some more in, and I just dried everything with my little trusty heat gun. Now we're gonna take some jute cord and I'm going to put a bit of hot glue in the tip of the cord and to make it stiffer so I'm able to thread my beads onto the jute cord. I just went over and threaded everything until I was done with most of the beads. I tested for length around this and I had enough. So now I'm going to remove that sticker from there. It was held to take that sticker out. And then I'm going to just go ahead and tie together the beads. And I'm going to put it right onto my cloche cover there that came from the Dollar Tree. And now I'm going to go ahead and remove that black section right there that you see in the top. I couldn't do it with my hands, so I used one of these snippers. I held it in place, twisted the one that was inside the cloche, and that made it easy to remove. Once I put my beads on there, I noticed that there was a little bit of a gap of a extra piece of, what do you call it? Of the plastic of the cloche. So once I stuck my beads down with some hot glue, wood hot glue I used for this, I'm going to go ahead and come in with my scissors and I'm going to cut off all the excess plastic just to have only the space where the beads are as my edges. Then I took one of these wood rounds and I'm going to paint it navy blue with the same paint. And I'm going to take one of these little, I think these are mushrooms that I got, but I'm going to use it as a little topper. I paint it with the same blue color. And then once both of them were dry, I'm just going to come in with a little bit of wood glue and a little bit of hot wood glue in small sections. And I just stuck it right in the middle of my circle. Make sure to clean up all the extra paint. I wiped off the extra, what do you call it? Glue. And then I'm going to go ahead and use some hot glue. And there was some sections on here that seemed like I messed up when I was gluing it, so I just went over the paint in those sections right there really quickly. And then I took my wood hot glue and I'm going to add it to the topping of that little wood piece there. I wish I would have painted that piece before I did that because you can see it, but if you do recreate this, do that. Okay, so then I took some of my gel super glue and I added it onto the top of my candle holder in 4 different sections. And then in these sections that didn't have any glue, I put the wood hot glue and I stuck it right in the inside of my painted pan, trying to do it right at the center. And then I just put my cloche right onto the back end of it. So, but before we get all, comfortable here, I'm going to take some of this Spanish moss from the Dollar Tree. I made sure to take a nice chunky piece and I just stretched it out. I'm creating like a little bed on there. And I just added a whole bunch of hot glue to the top section of this pie pan there. And I'm putting this flat onto this section. I made sure to do my Spanish moss kind of thick so I was not, so, propense to burn in my hand. But you should use protection on here, guys, just to protect yourself against very hot glue burns. And then here I am doing the same concept, but I am stretching my Spanish moss to look more like a ribbon so I can wrap it around the vertical part there, the raised sections right there of my pan. And I'm just covering up the edges there, trying to put it, to cover most of the white, but at the same time not put it too thick so it doesn't impede the cloche coming back on. I just kept adding it with hot glue, just stretching it and trying to position it in the best way I could. And I just did that. And once I was happy with that, I came in with my scissors, trimmed off some excess there, making sure to have everything nice and even so everything fits into place. Once I was happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and check and see, and it is closing properly, so I'm happy with that. Now we are going to go ahead and come in with some of my floral moss now. So I took some of the floral moss and I'm going to just put it in those places in which I see that the Spanish moss is kind of scanty, and I'm going to do it throughout the entire area where I put the Spanish moss. I just want to create, that illusion of, the grass becoming green again, since that's what happens when spring comes. So just trying to go for that look. And I just did that all along the entire thing until I was happy with the look. My friends, this is a very messy process, but it is fun and rewarding. So just, if you plan on making this, just plan for it. And what I will do differently is just put some kind of plastic underneath so I can just wrap all that mess of moss into that and put it back or toss it. Just make things easier and just have a tiny vacuum, present there to rescue you as well. My friends, as I mentioned before, this video is part of a collaboration, this Spring and Easter Cloche collaboration. So make sure that you head on over to my description box below. I also going to try to pin it in my comments for the playlist so you can enjoy everyone's videos. All right, my friends, here I'm just shaking off the excess. I don't want this to be messy later on. So I'm just making sure to get rid of all the little messy, things that were not really stuck on there. And I'm going to just go ahead and position it and fix the little bald areas. Then I took one of these DollarTree DIY bunnies, and I'm going to paint it using my white Black & Decker paint and primer, and I'm going to cover it with 2 coats of this. I don't want to put it too thick because I do want to go over and put in those lines of the bunny on later on, so I want that to still be, visible, so I can do that. Once the paint dried, I'm coming in with my Artisa pen pens. I'm using a brown one here, and I'm just outlining the outside of the bunny, these ears and the, the paws, or what do you call that? I guess it's paws. I don't know. Let me know if it's a different thing that you call the feet of the bunny, or bunny foot. I don't know. Anyway, I just, outlined everything using my brown color there, trying to bring some life. I make sure that this is a darker brown. I'm going to be doing something different later on, so I'm just doing all the little details there, including the flowers and the details on the feet. Once I was done with that, I'm going to come in using some of this blue Artisa paint pen, and I'm just going to color in the bunny's eye. Then I'm going to use this pink color, and I'm going to just put a little bit, and I'm going to just put my fingers through it so it kind of looks like watercolors instead of those harsh lines. Then I'm using one of these maple furniture markers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just do small strokes so it looks like the bunny has hair. Once that dried, I just glued 2 tumbling tower blocks to the back of my bunny so I'm able to stand it up. I should have totally painted stain the back of the bunny as well. I will go back and do that later. Once I made sure my bunny could stand, I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue and we're going to glue it right on the top of the mountain of grass we got going on there. So then I'm taking the same flowers that I got was it the first DIY? Yes, the first DIY. I'm going to use the rest of those, and I'm going to put them around the bunny here, along with some greenery as well. All the products used here from the Dollar Tree besides the candle holder. And here I was just trying to go for that look that you get, when the dandelions are kind of going on your grass and things, even though you don't like them in your grass, but sometimes they do look cute. But anyway, that yellow with the plants growing kind of color, and make it look like the bunny was just hanging out in the garden, just being a bunny. So once I added all my flowers, I try to put it in like different places, but at the same time try to make it look pretty natural. So there was no specific, spacing. And then I put some of those little leaves as well that came from a pick that I used for something else. And there it is. So I decided to distress the candle holder as well to go with everything else. I really like that marble look. So I used the same fluffy brush and I just, dabbed it onto very lightly onto the candle holder until I had the same beautiful marble look that my beads had. And like a mathematical equation, what you do to one side, you got to do to the other. So I did the same thing to the little topper on top of the cloche, so it all came together. And here it is. Oh my God, guys, I can't. Oh my goodness, I can't. This is so stinking cute. I am so loving this thing. I don't know, I love it. Let me know what you think. Guys, this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to be blessed, be a blessing, and craft responsibly. If you'd like to follow me on social media, here are my social media links. And I hope you enjoyed that video very much. Have an amazing day, and don't forget to go visit my friends on the playlist. Thank you again. Have an amazing day. Bye.